my pleasure to actually introduce someone on stage who I have a really funny story with how we met, and maybe he's gonna laugh when he hears that. But I can't tell what was the actual event or what was the thing, but we just met online. I mean, I know this story is kind of like valid these days. Yeah, how did you meet? We met online. But have you met anyone who's kind of like in your circles in person, but you met the person on LinkedIn? I mean, honestly, how many? Oh, few. Great stuff. So I thought I'm doing something absolutely stupid and something out of ordinary. So it's like, oh, this guy is like commenting this, and you know, you check him up. Who is he? Like, he wrote a book, and what is this? And I'm like, checking. I'm like, oh, he had a TEDx talk, this and that. And I'm like, oh, I really like this. So I literally message him out of the blue on LinkedIn saying, hello, I'm Mesi, my nice and smiley, energetic style. And nothing. Then I'm like, nah, this is not what you do with Mesi. Let's try this again. Few more weeks. Okay. Hello, I'm still here. Like, I'm Mesi. I'm really interested. It's fantastic what you do. Like, really, really inspiring. All this workplace well-being stuff. Nothing. And I'm like, okay. I tried twice. Don't worry. Like, you don't know me yet. Don't worry. Few months in. Hello, I'm still here. I'm not gonna give up. And yeah, correct me. I'm not sure how many times I actually messaged you, but eventually, one day, a response came, and I was like, hallelujah, my efforts, you know, like again, an example of never give up. And the guy answers like, hi, like I don't know what he said, like he was very nice. And I'm like, yes, victory. And then I thought I won, but it took me another 6 months to actually meet him in person, in real life. So I mean, like in total, I think it was 8 months or 9 months. You may laugh on this story, and it has nothing to do about you. It's more like what I wanted to make you guys see, like as an example of really like be consistent and really never give up, because the result is gonna come. So that's how literally we met, and then we spent, I don't know, 2-3 hours, pretty long time chatting about workplace well-being, and I just kicked off my business. I was in this, am I a CEO? Am I running a business? Or what the hell is going on? I used to have a corporate job which was safe, and I don't really know what's going on. But he was very motivating and very kind and very embracing and gave me lots of inspiration and motivation. So at that moment, I decided that I don't know what, but I want to collaborate or partner up, or I want to do something with this guy. So I think maybe even 2 years passed, and finally he said yes to one of my requests to be a guest here tonight. So I think with no further ado, let me welcome on stage Ryan Hopkins. Oh, thank you. I hope you didn't mind I shared the intro.
I've never had so much shade thrown at me before coming on stage. Honestly, it wasn't that bad at all. I think she sent a message, I'm like, yeah, you good? Like, yeah, you that makes for a good story though, does it?
But you didn't respond immediately, did you?
I don't know.
That's all right. Anyway, well, thank you. And yeah, sorry if the story was not 150% correct.
I don't remember, so it probably is. Actually, my girlfriend messaged me on LinkedIn first. And I ignored, she asked me for time, and I was like, no, thanks.
So that was not an exception.
No, it's not just you.
Oh, okay, that's
you know what I mean? And then she messaged again, and I was like, oh, I'm having a book launch soon. She came, and then when we moved it to Instagram, and things got serious. But like,
then you moved from LinkedIn to Instagram.
That's when you can drop. That's when you can lower the tone. But like, so it's not just you. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm not that special. Okay, brilliant, wonderful. So thank you so much for accepting the invitation. I just wanted to give something to people, again, sharing ideas, maybe inspire other people. That's why I started the podcast. At the moment, and maybe you will help me push that, at the moment I have 91 subscriptions on my channel. If you want to push the number, feel free, right? I'm really waiting for the moment when I can't follow it anymore, how many subscriptions I have. So, big pleasure to have you here. And I really wanted to kick this off with a little bit of intro about yourself, and for maybe people who never met you or never heard about you, maybe to share your own story. How did you ended up doing what you're so passionate about? And for all those who meeting Ryan for the first time, he's like a massive big ambassador in workplace well-being. I think you have like a nice name of it, like you are kind of like an ambassador in workplace rebellion. You have like a phrase like that. And I love that because it's just summarizes that we really can fight and we are able to fight for better and mentally more healthy workplaces. And I think that's what your that's where your real passion lies. You also wrote a book. So we're gonna get into that. It's the 52 Weeks of Wellbeing. I have a dedicated version. So very proud of that. And just wanted to ask you to really share the story. What was your biggest motivation? And this would be a really nice thing to do, but I forgot to do something. I wanted to do something and I didn't share it with you. We're gonna show a little 30 seconds. It's just a TEDx talk, don't worry.
For mine?
The first 30 seconds of his TEDx talk, just to give you the idea about the guy, how cool and hilariously funny he is. Let's see that. Can you see?
I can see, I know what's happening. I was there.
Did you see what's on the stage? Yeah, let's keep this. Perfect. So this was an actual toilet. So enough. Thank you.
Let's remove my gigantic bald head from behind me, please. That would be great.
It's all right. So that was his TEDx talk, and that was one of the first like touch points of what I saw about you. And I'm like, I really like him. Doing a TEDx talk with an actual toilet on stage, I'm like, you can't get like more creative than that. So, sorry, I really wanted to show to everybody. I think that was one of your best moments. Let's face it. But yeah, so just crack on with the.
Who am I? Why the toilet? What's my biggest motivation? So we got one question for the whole podcast, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why the toilet? Let's start with the important stuff.
Yes.
So I actually had to buy that toilet in Whitechapel in the morning.
No way.
Yeah. So I messaged Ted in Atlanta, the head office. I was like, hey, I'm bringing a toilet. And they were like, Mr. Hopkins, we think one will be there. And I said, no, you don't quite understand. I said, I've got to bring one with me. Is that all right to put it on stage? Yeah, no problem. So then I thought, well, I'll go to Screwfix in the morning. I'll get the lightest one there. Surely that's like a plastic toilet, right? For 100 quid. You don't think you're getting a porcelain one? No. So I've got like a porcelain toilet, weighs about 40 kilos. I'm in my TED outfit that I picked out, although my girlfriend said she would never let me leave the house in that t-shirt anymore. And I'm walking across London. I've got to put it together in the morning. All the other TED speakers are getting ready, calm, reading their notes, and I'm putting together a toilet. That toilet has since got taken home by one of the members of staff there and plumbed in. Oh, really? I was semi-hoping there'd be a plaque on it in the theatre, but unfortunately it's being used as a real toilet now.
Okay.
But who am I? So the toilet was called Engaging 1 Billion People from the Toilet, and it was partly because I believe well-being is this thing we've overcomplicated. People are trying to sell us courses and apps and everything else, but it's the little things we do every single day. And if you did 10 press-ups every time you went to the loo or 10 squats, you'd do 29,200 squats this year, and your legs would be bigger than Ronnie Coleman's this time next, yeah? So it's about these little things that matter. And that's partly why I was doing that. The talk was called Engaging 1 Billion People from the Toilet, because that's my goal, to engage 1 billion people in this subject. So I'm on about 25 million so far, which is cool. And partly in homage to the fact that when I was younger, I was so anxious at one point in my life that I couldn't leave my flat without feeling like I was going to wet myself. So what I try and do is laugh at the things that used to give me so much pain. And the more you do that, shame can't exist in the darkness, right? And when you bring it out and you share these things on stage, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller every time. And didn't tell anyone for 10 years. And now I tell audiences about the fact I thought I was going to piss myself every time I left the front door. Ridiculous, right? It wasn't at the time, it was everything for me. And I also, when I was younger, I struggled with bulimia for about 8 years, but that's not something a working class fella had, or anyone. I'd never saw another woman talk about it, so I felt like I was the only person in the world. So everything I do is to help people not end up where I did, and if they do, to know that they're not alone. So that comes to everything I do, and since then I've built and led Deloitte's global wellbeing consultancy, so I advise governments and companies around the world how to create better work and quantify that, treat well-being like a science rather than something soft and fluffy we do once in a blue moon. I'm now the Chief Impact Officer at Jack, and it's the coolest mental health platform in the world, in my opinion. I call it job title as well because I made it up. So if you can, make your job title up, then you can create your own KPIs, trust me.
So what's the job title?
Work smart, team.
What's the job title?
I'm the Chief Impact Officer.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, so if it's not interesting, I'll be like, it's not impactful enough, okay? I would love to get involved, but there's no impact there for me.
I like that. Nice, I like that. What's JAC for maybe those
JAC
who
stands
don't know?
for Just Ask the Question, and it's short form video content. Looks and feels like social media. We've got 100+ topics on there. Anything from bulimia to addiction to perimenopause to first, second, third trimester, anything that people are going through in life. We want someone to come on and see someone just like them. And when you see someone like you going through what you're going through, you feel like you're not alone for the first time in your life. And we partner with Bupa, Adidas, Formula One teams, rugby teams, and we're taking that around the world, which has been amazing. And I lead the strategic wellbeing advisory at Bupa as well. So I help their biggest clients how to look after their people and get the most from it. Yeah, it's not been a direct journey for sure, but and it's the fact I'm here is an infinitesimally small chance at one point. Broke my leg when I was younger. I was trained to be an electrician. I was going to be a very different career for me. I was going to be a sparky down in Hastings in East Sussex. Anyone been to Hastings? Yeah? Me too. It depends what part of Hastings you go to. You know, when you go to the old town, you're golden. Avoid the new town. That's rough, yeah? That's where I grew up. I was trained to be an electrician. I broke my leg and my ankle playing rugby, and that's what led to depression and then the bulimia. So it's been a very fortuitous path. Actually, now I see that those things have happened because they've led me here to speak with you today. But I've done anything to step into someone else's shoes, but it's part of the rich tapestry that makes my story and everyone else's, right? And I'm grateful for it now, but it's been challenging. But yeah, it's good fun. And I get to do things like this, which is bloody awesome.
Brilliant. Well, I didn't know the exact background story about everything, but you
Yeah, it's not
what caused what, the accident, then the bulimia and everything.
Yeah, and then I found out 2 years ago I got diagnosed with autism, and that makes a lot of things make sense as well. Yeah, that's why I joke. I say I remember my nan's phone number from when I was like 4. Do you know what I mean? It's 734-943. But I say don't call her because she passed away, and you will scare someone in Bexhill-on-Sea. Okay.
Oh God.
But these little things, the more you understand and unlock things about yourself, then you can look back at that version of your past self. You think that's why it was so tough for him or for her, right? And you give yourself a little bit more forgiveness every time you unlock those bits of yourself, and then eventually you'll be laughing about your dead nan on stage.
Nice, yeah.
Bless her, Brad.
True.
She'd be laughing.
That's good. Okay, so as a next thing, I wanted to ask you about the book itself, the 52 Weeks of Wellbeing. So when did the book come out, and what was your biggest inner motivation? I need to write a book, other than, let's build up this amazing profile that everybody loves on the internet, but something, what was behind the whole topic and concept?
So like most positive things in my life, it started on the toilet.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started with
everybody can think whatever we want to think. Okay.
So I started with a show. At one point, I was at Deloitte consulting, doing business transformation, but didn't care that much about it. It's what I did on the side that I cared about, and helping people setting up wellbeing functions. Like anyone who gets into it, we have to do it side of desk first. And then now it's become a discipline that's got a role inside organizations, but it wasn't 10 years ago. And I left to go and lead wellbeing in Sainsbury's Tech. And I said, well, if I'm going to be a leader, I've got to make noise and speak and turn up. I'm thinking, what's one thing we do every single day that I could attach positive habits to? 8 things 8 times every day. If you think you don't go 8 times every day, count tomorrow. You'll be absolutely shocked, yeah? 8 times every day. So it's about those little things. So I thought, okay, so I'm going to start doing this video series. So I've got to do a selfie on the toilet. And I was like, about these little things you do with regularity, that's all there ever is. So that if you improve by 1% every day for a year, you're 3,778% better at the end of the year with compound interest. It's the little things that matter. That's it. There's no app, there's no TED Talk, as good as both of mine were, that will fix you. It's about what you do afterwards, today, tomorrow, and then the day afterwards. So I was like, well, if I can do something there, make it fun, almost laugh at the seriousness around the subject as well. Started with a selfie in the toilet, published it. I was like, you flush and you flourish, let's get going. Yeah? You like that? Marketing from day zero, yeah? It was good, wasn't it? Yeah, so I did about 100 episodes, the vast majority of them, people couldn't give less of a shit, excuse the pun. Yeah.
Someone is sending a message from the toilet.
Exactly, but no one cared. But I was developing the muscle, and over a few years, writing content and researching every weekend and finding out what worked and trying to put together pros and create the videos, and did that for about 3 years. Had enough in there for about 100 episodes. So I said, well, this is going to be a book. It'll be a toilet book, like a coffee table book or something. I was like, toilet break wellbeing. I got an introduction to the publisher. They were like, that's a terrible idea. I was like, awesome. So then I was like, oh, well, give me another chance, please. Like, please, Mr. Publisher. Like, I was like, what about making work less shit 1 week at a time? And they said, we're a business book publisher, Mr. Hopkins. That will never sell. Okay, well, one more chance, please. Then I was like, what about 52 weeks of wellbeing and no nonsense guide? And he's like, you're onto something, mate. And I was like, perfect. So signed the deal, the book deal in January. Then I had until July to write it. And I went to Weatherspoons in Putney every Saturday and Sunday and sat at the same table 212, 9 to 5, until the people started properly boozing. And I would essentially 16 weeks in a row. And then I had the book almost completed. Then I thought, I'm going to try and treat myself somewhere a bit nicer than Spoons in Putney. So the money I hadn't spent in a nice hotel writing somewhere like this, I flew to Sicily and travelled along the north coast for 10 days to finish the book. Released in January 23.
So you wrote it in like a short, like.
It was researched over 3 years, but written in 16 weeks.
Nice.
And then when it launched in January, I wasn't expecting too much. But fortunately, with the work with Bupa, they put in a ginormous order for all their people, which was bloody terrific. Yeah. So it hit #1 for the Amazon business books. And I was like, come on. It was like above Simon Sinek and Mo Gawdat and everyone else. I was like screenshotting that bad boy and I'm sending it to everyone. I was like, I'm a flipping bestseller. Amazon bestseller. Yeah, like one day it'll be Sunday Times, right? Maybe the next one. But that happened. And then since then, it's been available, translated into 6 different languages. Done book signings around the world now with it. And yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, just very proud. It started on the toilet 6 years ago and then became a best-selling book. So it's pretty wild.
Cool. Very impressive. Give up. Persistency and consistency.
If you keep turning up enough with good energy, people can't avoid you eventually. If you're not a complete idiot anyway. Semi, right?
Yeah, very nice. Very impressive, very inspiring. Well, thank you. So who would you suggest to read the book? Does it have a workplace angle or 52 weeks of well-being, like in general, for like anyone? So, does it have like the workplace, office, a thing, vibe? Or is it like more like a generic, like mental health and your own well-being type of thing?
So the #1 precondition for buying the book is having $9.99 in the bank, right? Then I'll suggest you get it. No, I'm joking. No, like it's a workplace. It's a workplace focus. So it's about creating space for what's important. And that was what my second TED talk was, called The Secret to Wellbeing. And it's understanding yourself, not the bollocks that you're told by when you were growing up or by others on social media, truly understanding what you need, creating quality time, not quantity of time inside the work and outside of it, and then focusing on the little things. And ultimately, that's what the book was all about. It was everything from how to deal with meetings, endless emails, notifications outside of work, the barrage of terrible news notifications we get throughout our life, or the cosmic insignificance therapy, whatever I found interesting. I wanted to make it super practical. So the book had 171 different tips and 220 references. So I handed it in and they were like, this is obscene. They were like, you got to cut it down. It was way too big. So we cut it back down.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh,
but yeah, that's what came together. So it's principally for the workplace, to create space for what's important, and then to focus on the little things.
Nice. Okay. So based on your experience and the research and all your, everything, like you talk to all these people in this industry all the time.
Yep.
What is that key thing? Why we're always struggling with finding that, some people say non-existing work-life balance, but, trying to escape the 9-to-5 craziness and just keep that life out of the workplace. Because I think our society, generation, era, whatever, we are just constantly in this, the tired and busy and whatever. And I think like my example was definitely this when I was at American Express. Like I could never stop, and probably in the lack of confidence, and when you're not really feeling okay with yourself, you just can't say no to anything. So literally, I was pushed until you like die. But I think even if you are getting like into maybe senior positions, or it doesn't really matter what position you have, I think it's a constant battle and a struggle for most people. How do you stop that? How do you make peace with, you know what? Okay, that's work, and now it's me.
So the two things, the challenge is in the question. For me, I don't think work-life balance isn't a goal, rather boundaries in the modern world. And unless you can create boundaries, you're never going to find balance. And balance will never win. If Sharon, your manager, she puts a call in a diary, right, at 5:30, you're turning up regardless of whether you got drinks for your busy mate, it don't matter, right? Sharon's like that, she does that all the time. So that's the way it is. But if you've got boundaries and you can communicate what those are, integrate those into the digital world, then you'll find you're able to create space for what's important. And so for me, it's not about work-life balance, it's life, which work is one part of, and it's a fundamental element, but you need to be non-negotiable with what you need to be your best self. So I find that days are busy. I get invited to do things like this on a Monday, which is awesome, but that means I've got to front load my day. And that's my responsibility. But in the workplace itself, it's not a business and organizational responsibility to improve happiness, and it's not, but it is their responsibility not to worsen it. And when we flip that switch, we move away from bikes, bananas, and one-off events to creating work that's got space and trust smart people to work in a way that suits them, that enables a diverse workforce and inclusive culture. That's it. And we say, when you're good and ready, the stuff's over there. You give people agency. For me, that's the key that's missing. And unless you can be really clear on what it is you're working together to collectively achieve, you're never going to stand the hope of doing that as an individual. Then you're never going to be able to say no to the barrage of emails and pointless meetings we find ourselves in all day. For those who works on a laptop for a living, basically everyone, we spend 57% of our day on meetings, sending instant messages, responding to emails. 57% of our day, yeah? So that leaves 43% of our working time to do our actual work that we're meant to do in the 100% of the time. The work week is shorter than it's ever been according to the OECD, but does it feel like it? You meant to say no? Thank you very much, everyone. We're warming up still, I guess, right? So it doesn't, does it? So, but that's where we are because of that. So if we create space, give people agency to work in a way that suits them, then neurodivergent people from marginalized backgrounds, from different parts of the country and walks of life will get the same opportunity to participate and win. And that's what, for me, the missing gap is. We're looking to add, to give people more apps, more solutions. For me, the greatest thing we can do next year for wellbeing is subtraction and trust. And then the only way that happens is by having a quality organization that analyzes the effectiveness of all of this work. So in the UK, in the past 2 years, absenteeism has risen by 21.5%, so 9.4 days average per person, where it was 7.8, and that cost to businesses is ginormous. But no one has a clue why, what's happening, what's driving it. You want to help your people, get to the crux of that. You want to find out what's driving that. It's because they're working, spending too much time on wasted things. Then you can make people more efficient by pushing back against the meetings, the emails, all the gumph, and help smart people work in a way that suits them, and then they fly.
Nice, very nice.
I know that's not one thing, that's kind of fixing the whole system, but yeah, I've got to ask the question.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so many moving parts, right? If
Exactly.
you talk about like the corporate world, because I find in my old job, it was like what's the usual approach when it comes to workplace well-being? The leadership comes up with ideas. Oh, people complain, let's resolve this, let's help, let's make it better, yeah? So the leadership team just hears
You know something funny about
voice.
that?
Yeah.
We did some work at Deloitte. We asked leaders, you think you're responsible for the well-being of the team? What do you think they said? Most said yes, 97% said yes. The 3%, I hope they're not your manager, okay? There's always outliers, isn't there? 97% said yes, we're responsible, we care about the people in our teams. We asked that same population, do you exemplify the behaviors that you are telling people to embody? 30% said yes. So it's do as I say, not as I do. And the perception of well-being is created from the leadership behaviors. So it's not as the policy is not as important as what is practiced. And if they tell everyone, don't eat lunch at your desk, and you see them stuffing in a really shit Pret sandwich at like 2 p.m, what example do you think that sets for everyone else? That is the culture. That's the psychological contract. That is how the workplace is created.
Exactly, like same as like you have a speaker like on mental health, or you throw in an event like because let's say people are complaining and okay, let's build emotional resilience, whatever. There's a talk, but the leadership team is not there. Like the managers are not joining.
Yep.
And how will everybody else feel? Of course, like you would feel exactly the same as I would feel. Like, can you leave me alone with another Wellbeing talk? Like, I don't have time. Also, you're not measuring my performance based on what talk I'm attending. Yeah, so why would I go?
LSE found that is the #1 driver of workplace wellbeing. And a study of S&P 500 organizations found that voluntary attrition was 1% lower for organizations where wellbeing was the focus of the survey. And for me, that's the perception gap. And literally, if we just know this is a priority here, you can do what the hell you need to prioritize yourself. That is the best intervention you can have, regardless of the app or the service. It's creating a culture where people can do what they need. Mm-hmm. So it's less about interventions and more creating a space. And that's created from behaviors, and that starts from the top.
I agree. Yeah. It always comes back to that, I think, like behavior. And
it doesn't necessarily have to be someone sitting on the toilet doing videos, but like it can be whatever,
it can
right?
Be anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. So if, let's say someone is just listening to this for the first time, and let's keep in mind it will be an actual podcast recording, like online, it will be out on the internet. And the person is just getting inspired by, all about this mental health and mindset and like things you are really passionate about. What would be that thing which you would say, start there, like someone never did any digging deeper, or never really realized how far you can go, or how much you can develop, or how much you can change if you really understand your own mental health. But you just hear bits like, oh, it's really inspiring what this guy is telling me. And maybe they buy the book, or maybe they read about it, maybe they do a course, maybe they attend classes, but they just maybe don't know how to start. Like, what would you do? Like, okay, take it easy, don't be too harsh on yourself. Mm-hmm. And how do you start with this whole, like, because mental health can be so heavy, and I know that everyone has their own journey with mental health, but like, unless something triggers it, maybe someone will live a lifetime without digging deeper and just, keeping themselves in the same place forever.
I'll do 2 pieces from the book which I really like, which help with the framing, and I think that's important. And I find that with wellbeing and mental health at work, the less you mention it, the more likely you are to affect it. And for me, like, the greatest interventions are sometimes about just having better meeting culture and things like that. But for me personally, I had all those things going over the years. I felt like I was the only man in the world who had an eating disorder. I didn't speak to anyone else for like I felt like I was the only bloke in the world who ever had an eating disorder, because I never saw other men speaking about it.
Oh, you thought you were alone with the problem, with the eating disorder, okay.
And then with the anxiety as well, and I couldn't communicate that. I was working as a bouncer when I was going through that anxiety. So I was like 110 kilos playing like first team rugby, and I was big, but on the outside I would look quite intimidating, but inside I was a wreck and felt like I was going to wet myself all the time. You never know what's going on with someone. Everyone's got some version of it going on. And I've been terrible at showing myself self-care. I treat myself like a piece of marble to be sculpted and worked on, not with emotions or the patience that I would treat other people. And I would say, like, turn yourself around, look at yourself in the mirror and speak to yourself like you would a friend. And that for me has been something like revelationary. I push myself a lot to feel pain, and then I know I'm doing what I'm capable of and pushing my boundaries. Whereas what I'm learning now is I don't have to go through that all the time to mean that I'm developing and growing. And
go through the pain.
Exactly. You don't have to feel pain to grow.
And that's good.
And that's my next part of my journey. But have anyone heard of kintsugi, like the Japanese art of pottery? If you have, sorry.
What is it? Okay, didn't.
So in the 16th century, the shogun in Japan was having his tea ceremony, and they take it as seriously as us Brits, right?
A tea ceremony.
A tea ceremony, exactly. So his servant's bringing some tea up. He's got the pot, he's bringing it to him. He trips over, he drops the teapot in front of him. He's like, oh no. He probably said it in Japanese, but you're like, oh no. Does anyone know oh no in Japanese, anyone? Right? So he's dropped it and he's like, oh. And in the 16th century Japan, that's a death sentence. Like, you're losing your head to a samurai sword, yeah? So he's like, all right, that's it, mate, you're dead. Again, probably in Japanese. And he said, no, let me put it back together, please. Let me take the pot and try and build it back. So he's taken it, he's put it back together with staples, he's presented it back to the Shogun, and he's like, that's it, mate, you're done. He's like, give me one more chance, please. And he's taken the pot away and put it back together with gold glue. So where the pot was broken, it's now stronger and more beautiful as a result of those cracks. And that's a metaphor for ourselves as well. And I'm basically gold glue at this point, right? I'm hella sparkly and I'm bloody strong, yeah? But that's the same for the things that we go through. And eventually you'll show yourself that love that you have to friends who are going through things. And that's a beautiful moment when you get to that point, but it takes time. And you got to give yourself that allowance to not be perfect with everything you're doing and turning up. And that takes time. And I think only you can't put an old head on young shoulders. And unfortunately, you have to go through some version of shit to feel that yourself. If anyone learns how to impart this experience to young people, that will be quite an unbelievable business. But no one's worked it out just yet. So that's the first part, and that self-care I'm learning for myself is just the next phase of my journey, which I'm quite enjoying. And then there's the spotlight theory. No one actually cares about what you're doing, right? No one cares less. You are not the star of the show. You are the star of your show.
Yeah.
Yeah? You're going through a version of your one. You're worried about the chewing gum you got on your shoe, right? I'm thinking, I've worn an old black t-shirt, it's not a bit faded. I could look a bit better tonight. Oh, well, no one knows, no one cares, okay? And the sooner you realize that everyone is going through some version of their own stage show and they're the lead actor in Hamilton, right? Yeah, then the sooner you take that pressure off yourself and you think when they go home, I've got to go home and like rush a dinner in and try and clean the flat up. You're going to be going through some version of your own drama and experience as well. And we'll leave here, hopefully feeling warm and remembering something as a result. But ultimately, it's just not that deep. And the sooner you realize you're doing all right as you are, show yourself some love and actually spin that frame around that you would give to someone else. And then actually that no one really gives a shit.
Exactly.
It's quite freeing.
Sorry to add, as my dad would phrase, he's Hungarian, he lives back home. I think it summarizes brilliantly your concept as well. Every time I was like panicking about something, he's like, honey, don't worry. All these people, you are thinking whatever they are, they're gonna go home and they're gonna, go to the toilet and they're gonna shit exactly the same way as anyone else. So I'm like, thank you. And then you put, all these people to a different perspective who you're so scared of or you're so afraid of. And I'm like, I like that, thank you. And immediately you feel a little bit better.
Exactly.
They're just the same. They're just humans, all of us.
If you're asking, if you're really concerned about it, put it out into the world instead of existing in this like worry in your head. Say, did you realize I slipped up on the third paragraph, the second line? Of course you didn't, right? Or then you ask yourself, so what? So what if I messed up? Well, people will think I'm an idiot. So what? But they're not going to remember for long. So what? Well, that's that then. I'll go down the so what, eventually and you'll reach a point that's just completely unimportant, yeah? And that comes from just taking that pressure off yourself a little bit. And we all get it wrong most days. And don't compare yourself on socials to other people's highlight reels. Yeah, you're watching either the highest moment of their life or the lowest moment. That's what people share. No one shares the 99% in the middle. So that comparison can create quite a deep place when you're going through something. So be aware of the information you're taking in as well. And I've got rid of a hella load of people that just make me feel a bit shit. Like, I feel like Frodo Baggins if I'm on there for like 2 seconds, you know what I mean? All these abbed up dudes going to Bali and I'm like love handles, you know what I mean? But it's all good. Business up the top, bit of fun down the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And like I used to worry so much about my body image, but that comes now from just taking the pressure off and you think, I'm doing
nothing to worry about, I think.
It's always a working, I'm not the fattest, I'm not the thinnest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the slowest. Like I'm just me and I'm good now. Got really lean with the bulimia, I got really big, I got put on weight, I've lost it. It never made me happy. It was who I was on the inside, and that just took time to work that out. But still working out. Still always a work in progress, isn't it?
Yeah, very inspiring. About social media, I don't know how you guys are feeling about that, but I totally made a social media cleanup recently, and I'm enjoying my new, feed. It's absolutely different things coming to my way. It's fascinating because I just realized that I'm just randomly, reading all this shit that I'm absolutely not interested about, and also it's like pointless. Like information which is maybe negative, like drags me down, like I'm not interested. And then I just realized I'm just unfollow, like it feels so good. And then, you try to like immerse yourself with the positivity.
Everyone knew we said, well, I don't have much time to focus on myself. The average person in the UK spends 1 hour and 49 minutes on social media every day. Set a
hour and 45,
an hour
maybe
and
2
49,
hours.
exactly. Set a limit on your phone, have 30 minutes. You can still send your cat memes to your mates, your golfing videos, whatever. Do what you like. Do you know what I mean? We're not hermits, we don't live in a cave, that's cool. But just limit the time. Does it need to be 2 hours every day? If you create that, imagine what you could do with an hour and 19 every single day for the rest of the year, right? It's a shit ton of time. You can continue your education to become a sex therapist, be like Gillian Andrews in sex education, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly.
So there'll be no boring days, would there?
Yeah, true.
Exactly.
To just do that, yeah. Okay, so we are nearly coming to end. So 2 more questions I have to you.
I'll try and be quick. I don't know what time it is.
Yeah, it's nearly 8. So because this podcast, the name of the actual podcast, what we are recording now is, and also the event is the same, so the Confidence Club. So if you guys look up maybe on YouTube or Spotify, you're gonna find, if you search for the Confidence Club, this is what you're gonna find, me and my lovely guests. And because of the topic confidence, I just wanted to ask about how you see your own relationship with confidence and how it relates, like confidence and mental health, like how you think these guys are like with each other and what's like, of course, how it relates to you.
I got asked an amazing question a couple of weeks ago. I was interviewed in a show for Bloomberg, which was pretty cool. So my family watched me on TV at the weekend, which was so weird.
Wow.
And they all texted me and I was like,
They're like, you were on TV?
I know, they were sending me pictures. I'm like, I know. And I'm like, yeah, cool, okay. But like, I got asked a question there by Dr. Phil, and not the Dr. Phil, the chat show host in the US, but he does look like him.
I have no
He's
idea.
also like
Okay,
he's also massive and like feels like him as well. Anyway, not Dr. Phil, regardless. He asked me a good question, and he said, like, we were talking about the difference between self-esteem and confidence, and you can masquerade as if you've got confidence. You can pretend and show up and give it Billy big ones on stage, yeah? But self-esteem is deep and that's real. And when you work on that, then the confidence will flow. You can manifest and you can try and work through the fake confidence, but that will only carry you so far. The real work and the value is just appreciate who you are and turn up exactly as you are on stage. Not get your right color socks for your trousers, own it and do your thing, yeah? Because again, people don't care that much. People want you to win and show up. So the self-esteem is being worked on all the time. The confidence I used to pretend, I think now it's a real confidence and it's quieter. I don't need to be as gregarious and push out. I'm just proud of who I am now and what I've done and what I will do. And I think people can feel that difference between the real one and the fake one. So I'm working on the real one. I've passed the fake one off.
Nice. Yeah, I think similar journey. I had the similar thing like that. I just feel like that my inner version is catching up to the version what I painted.
Exactly, and we're told we've got to have a personal brand by workplaces, but that's anything but personal. They want you to look and sound a certain way, to be polished and professional. When I was at Deloitte the first time, I felt like a right odd sausage. Right, everyone was like really well spoken, and I thought really well educated, but that was my perception. Everyone's coming from their own backgrounds. And I was like, I turned up and I was like, all right, geezer, how's it going?
Like, who is this guy?
Exactly. And they were like really good universities, and I got accepted eventually to the worst one in the UK because I had no GCSEs and A-levels, and I had to work and then transfer to a better one in the second year. So I felt, that's me judging myself.
You should have met me because I haven't even studied in the UK. You see?
Exactly.
There are like levels.
But then that's your perception of yourself, right? Yeah. So when you work on that and you understand that you're good enough exactly as you are, you take the money. It's exhausting turning up trying to be someone else every single day. And when you eventually start to unlock pieces of you and then turn up as you are, and then you see little bits and sparks in people's eyes when they welcome you, and that connection is real because people can feel it when it's incongruent. And I feel like that's so worth working on. And yeah, I love what I get to do.
Lovely. Well, very nice. And this brings us to the very last question, which is now a tradition when I do a podcast recording, which is about your favorite quote. So I hope that you had a chance to think about this. If not, then I can talk a bit more. So you can think about one. So basically you're like something which is close to you, and maybe if you can share like the background, like why you
Can I share 3?
Yes, you can share 3.
Cool. I was writing a post for tomorrow because I thought it was quite funny because the Office of Budgetary Responsibility, they released the reports before she went on stage and did the budget. hilarious. And everyone's saying how proper they are, and you think they're really great at their budgets, right? You look at their past few budgets, they've missed every single one, the 40, they've got them all wrong. That is rooms of economists, and they're absolute idiots. And I'm joking, like they go, but then you're concerned about what you're doing and showing up, and the smartest people in the world still can't quite get that right. So I was writing a post tomorrow about that, and I found a quote from Mark Twain that I quite liked that I was going to share at the end. So one more, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Yeah, I thought that was quite good. And then Karl Popper as well in that post said you can find any data to validate your assumptions if you look hard enough. So beware people sharing quantitative stories on stage because they're trying to validate something they're speaking about, right? Always look beneath that. There's a story to be told and look for what people are trying to say. But my favorite quote, that was just a post for tomorrow, is he who has a why can deal with any how. And that was, he who has a why can deal with any how. And that was Nietzsche who originally wrote it, but A Man's Search for Meaning, the book by Viktor Frankl, he took that quote and turned it into logotherapy, and that's a book that changed my life, and that perception of that what happens externally doesn't necessarily need to create your inner environment. What happens there isn't what happens here, and everyone has a choice, even when you're in the darkest, worst place in the world, like he was in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
And for me, that mindset and that thinking has been transformational in my life. So that, for me, is my favorite quote.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So this, thank you so much for sharing that. This brings us to the end, and I think let's give a big round of applause to Ryan. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm very pleased that we made this happen.
And to the host for being so patient and finally getting me on.